So my friend, here we are at Bergen's Crossing. This is where the train accident occurred. So on that morning, December 1st of 1938, so Thursday morning, the bus actually was heading parallel to the tracks. So this is kind of northward. We're looking south right here. The train's headed north. So the bus was heading parallel to the tracks on the other side, crossed over the crossing behind us, stopped briefly, but not briefly enough. And then kept creeping across the tracks. By the time they were literally halfway across the tracks, one of the kids who was facing south yelled out "train" with just half a second before the train impacted with the bus. Cut the bus right into Farrell Silcox, the driver of the bus. Didn't really even have time to react. And you know, like I said, I think it chalks up to nothing more than just the muscle memory of having gone over the same crossing time and time again. And right now we've got the major thoroughfare of I-15 here, but back in the day you just had a 2-lane, really small highway and these little frontage roads, and then just this track that was going through this farmland. They're not used to a lot of traffic, and he certainly wasn't prepared for the train to come by when it did. So what the storm did affect that morning was it pushed everything off schedule. The train came through a lot later than it normally would. And so he wasn't expecting it. He didn't think he would even had to look when he crossed the tracks. So it hit the train, the chassis was pushed off of the frame, was pushed down the track over a quarter mile to the north. The train didn't stop for another at least half mile. So that morning it came out of kind of the Helper and Price area, which is, you know, about 120 miles to the southeast of where we are right now, and that's what pushed it back, because you had blizzard conditions coming down through Spanish Fort Canyon. So the train just came through at the wrong time. So I've walked by this area time and time again. This is part of my almost daily routine of going on a walk, and I always come a little bit out of my way to come down to this crossing, sort of in a way to honor the dead. And it doesn't feel to me like a creepy location. It certainly feels very heavy though, that something here, you know, heavy happened. 23 students lost their lives as soon as that bus was hit by the train, instantly, including the bus driver. 15 survived. You know, they had scars throughout the rest of their lives, both psychological and physical scars. The funeral, there were a couple funerals held, but kind of the main funeral for most of the students was actually held at Jordan High School. And there's a good picture of it, which you can include in this, but it kind of shows the hearse pulling up, shows the pallbearers bringing the caskets into the school. But I usually come by here in the dark, and there's one street light between the main thoroughfare and over to this dead-end stop, and that street light is always turned off, and then right when I walk underneath it, it'll kind of flicker. Maybe it has a motion light sensor activation in it, but to me it's always kind of this like creepy, ominous vibe.
If you were on that bus in that tragic accident, keeping the line on like fuck. Wow. Now let's try to mess with the timing. Can you turn the light off? The light just got brighter. A lot brighter.
Do you have control over this light?
Wow, that intensified. I think it's the brightest.
That's the brightest it's been.
Can you turn the light off? Feels like it's surging. There it goes.
There it goes.
Off.
That's how long it was on?
Was it snowing at the time the train hit the bus? Did you see the train? Like the
Right as soon as you said that. I felt a little chill too. Dude, I felt a chill and when that light turned
you
on.
too?
Yeah.
Oh man, I got like tingles in my spine right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole vibe of the place just changed.
Yep.
I saw a raccoon cross right in front of me one time, which you don't see here in town very often. But sometimes I'll just walk up to this barricade and just kind of think about what happened this morning, because the layout of this road is basically exactly the same as it was on that day. Sometimes I'll have vehicles that are just parked here when I'm going on my walk, and I don't really get too close up to the vehicle. Who knows what's going on there? But yeah, it's an interesting spot. In all of Utah, this is a spot that really sort of draws me in as being a heavy location. And those buses back then were laid out in such a way it just wasn't safe. You had a bench where all of these students, half the students were facing with their backs to the train coming. So you had this one student that's sitting on the other side. He sees the train coming because he's facing south, but then the majority kind of with their backs to didn't even see it coming, and so it just tore right through the bus. And like I said, in that days, it affected the majority of the families in this part of the valley. It's I highly recommend, if you get the chance to visit this spot, do it, even if you're from out of state. It affected a lot of the train laws in the country. So yeah, school buses have to stop, actually open their doors and listen and look both ways now before they cross the track. So I think we've all been in this scenario where you've been trapped behind a bus before it goes across the track. You gotta wait longer than, and this crossing right here is the reason why. I have people tell me, like, why do you want to relive situations like this and talking about them? And to me, it's like, it's honoring the dead. It's the same reason, like, we visited that memorial in the cemetery and why we went to the cemetery earlier today. It's to honor those that have gone on. And sometimes in order to honor someone, you have to talk about the story that took their life.
Thank you, Chad. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.